Warning? Spoilers ahead for the Rings of Power episode 4 The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power shows a huge statue of a flowing female figure in Numenor's dungeon. But whom does it honor? From Lindon to Khazad-dûm, Amazon's The Rings of Power has spared no expense bringing J.R.R. Tolkien's second age to life with visually majestic landscapes. Perhaps the most impressive of all locations is the Roman-inspired island of Numenor. An idyllic haven of architecture, art and crafting, Numenor also has a penchant for giant statues. When Galadriel first sailed into port, for example, she glimpsed the towering figure of Eärendil extending a hand of welcome. The Rings of Power episodes 3 and 4 also include a very different Numenorian statue. When Halbrand and later Galadriel find themselves consigned to the city's dungeon, they are met by a giant stone woman with wild waving hair. Whereas the previous statues dotted around the Rings of Power's Numenor were clearly former kings or historical figures, the dungeon statue appears more mythical in nature. Prime Video's trivia section describes this sculpture as a personification of the sea itself, but neglects to give her a name. Examining J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium, Numenor's prison statue is most likely Uinen the Maya. There's no female Vala associated with sailing, and not only is Uinen considered the spirit of the sea, she's a figure that mariners, of which there are many on Numenor, look toward when seas get rough. The myth claims that choppy waters are caused by the Maya Os, and Uinen, his wife, calms these outbursts, thus ceasing stormy tides. Given the Númenóreans' seafaring exploits, it makes total sense that a statue would be erected in honor of Uinen. Indeed, Tolkien's map of Numenor even includes a nearby island named Tol Uinen, in tribute to this Lady of the Sea. Wait, why is there a statue in Numenor's prison? Even those who've never had the pleasure of visiting one personally can probably guess that most jails do not contain pretty statues for prisoners to enjoy looking at. Why does Numenor break that rule with its dungeon sculpture of Uinen? The answer is simple enough. Numenor's prison was not always a prison. Earlier during the island's history, the dungeon must serve some other purpose, perhaps a temple or a training area for young mariners, where a statue of Uinen would make perfect sense. At some point, however, the structure was repurposed into a dungeon for Númenórean ne'er-do-wells or outsiders like Galadriel and Halbrand. The story of Numenor's jail with its out-of-place statue speaks to how the island's attitudes and culture have changed. In the beginning, Numenor probably had little need for jails, such was the virtue of those blessed by the Valar and led by Elros. Over time, the islanders have become skeptical of the Valar and distrustful of the elves, and that growing bitterness has cleaved division between Númenóreans who stay true to their original values and those embarking on a darker path. It's no surprise that as the island's strife swelled and outsiders became unwelcome, more prison space was required, and old buildings erected in honor of the Aenir were converted into dungeons. The transformation of a holy space into a holding cell space encapsulates the gradual corruption of Numenor's soul in the Rings of Power. Join Amazon Prime, watch thousands of movies and TV shows anytime, start free trial now. The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power continues Thursday, Friday on Prime Video.